Once upon a time, there was a great famine in Israel. It was not an ordinary famine. It was severe, terrifying, and unbearable. Food became so scarce that even the unthinkable began to happen. A donkey's head was sold for a huge amount of money. And even dove's dung became food. People were starving. Children were crying. Families were breaking. And then, something unimaginable happened. There was going to be war, for the enemies were waiting to come. No way out. Two desperate women made a shocking agreement. One said to the other, "Give your son, so we may eat him today, and tomorrow we will eat my son." Driven by hunger and blinded by desperation, they agreed. That very day, they cooked the first woman's son and ate him. The next day came, the second woman hid her child. She refused. She broke the agreement. The first woman, filled with anger and grief, went to the king. She cried out loudly, "My lord, O king, help me!" The king asked her, "What is troubling you?" And she told him everything. How they agreed, how they ate her son, and how the other woman hid her own child. When the king heard this, he was shattered. He tore his clothes in grief and anger. Underneath his royal robe, he was wearing a sackcloth, a sign of deep mourning. But instead of turning to God, he became angry. He blamed the prophet of God. The king sent a messenger to summon the prophet. He was furious. He believed the prophet was responsible for the suffering in the land. But before the messenger arrived, the prophet already knew. The prophet spoke boldly, "Hear the word of the Lord. By this time tomorrow, food will be abundant in Samaria. Flour and barley will be sold cheaply at the city gate." It sounded impossible, unbelievable, and unrealistic. An officer standing beside the king doubted the prophecy. He said, "Even if the Lord opens the windows of heaven, could this really happen?" The prophet looked at him and declared, "You will see it with your own eyes, but you will not eat from it." Outside the city gate, there were 4 lepers. They were outcasts, rejected, and starving. They said to each other, "Why sit here until we die? If we enter the city, we will die of hunger. If we stay here, we will die. So let us go to the enemy's camp. If they spare us, we live. If they kill us, we die anyway." That evening, they got up and went to the camp of the enemy. But when they arrived, something shocking happened. The camp was empty, completely empty. What they didn't know was this. God had caused the enemy army to hear a terrifying sound. Like chariots, like horses, like a mighty army approaching. The enemies panicked. They said, "The king of Israel has hired armies against us." And in fear, they ran for their lives. They left everything behind, their tents, their food, their gold, their silver, everything. The 4 lepers entered the camp. They saw food. They ate until they were full. They drank. They took silver, gold, and clothes, and hid them. Then they returned, entered another tent, ate again, and took more. But then, they paused. They said to one another, "What we are doing is not right. This is a day of good news, and we are keeping silent. If we wait until morning, punishment may come upon us. Let us go and tell the king's household." They went back to the city gate and reported everything. The gatekeepers shouted the news that it reached the king. At first, the king doubted. He thought it was a trap. But he sent men to investigate, and they found it exactly as the lepers said. The road was filled with abandoned clothes and weapons. The enemy had truly fled. The people rushed out of the city. They plundered the camp. Flour and barley were now cheap, exactly within 24 hours. The king appointed the same officer, the one who doubted, to control the gate. But as the hungry crowd rushed out, they trampled him. He died at the gate, just as the prophet had said, "You will see it, but you will not eat from it." And so, God turned famine into abundance, desperation into provision, fear into victory. In just one day. Because when God speaks, no situation is too far gone. Never doubt what God can do in one day.